Hey guys, so before I get my fun little video here with Bart, in case you guys have been living under a rock for the last month or so, you'll know that myself, Bart, his partner Pim, and Annabelle Smithson started our own community. It's a gut brain health community where we really take a deep dive into mindset and neuroplasticity training to help reverse chronic illness and optimize your health. We also get into a lot of other types of healing modalities. So that could be nutrition, lifestyle, exercise, sleep, light, community, building relationships. We really get into everything in this community. So if you guys are interested, we have Bart coming on April 6th as a guest. We also have Dr. Kiltz. I believe we're going to be having Sean Baker, maybe Dr. Anthony Shafee as well. So a lot of people that you guys know in the carnivore space, but we're going to have a whole host of amazing people coming in the community. So really hope that you guys will check it out. If you guys use the code that I've linked down below, Bart K, and you click on that link, you'll get 10% off your first month. So I hope you guys enjoy the video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks so much, guys. All right, everybody. So I have the infamous Bart K back on the channel for more doctors that know dick about fuck on YouTube. I think we had some more offenders to go over today. We had our first one a couple months ago and it did quite well. So thought I'd bring you back on, Bart. How you doing?
I'm doing well, Scotty. How you doing, mate?
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. What's new in your neighborhood?
Oh, not much. Working hard, getting no thanks for it. You know how it is. All good stuff.
It's a thankless job.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we have a few guys we got to cover today, a few doctors that we weren't able to get to in the last one. We're just going to go over some clips. Now, these aren't maybe the worst clips of these guys, but still bad nonetheless. And some of, I guess, your favorite guys. I know you've covered some of these videos before, but no harm going over them again, right?
Sure.
All right. So let's start here. So starting with Joel Furman, everybody's favorite vegan doctor here. I don't know what kind of doctor Joel Furman is. Do you know?
No, I don't. I think he's a general practitioner, but I'm not sure.
Podcast, like Dr. Sean Baker and a few others, they're primarily guys that like to eat meat. Right. And so they are talking about nutrient dense foods, but those have more calories. And you're talking about things.
Man, I love Sean. So we're going to be on Sean's channel this week, but does he actually eat all those burgers in one sitting? He's got like a dozen burgers there.
Yeah, he's a beast of a man though. Sean is like 6'5" and 260 or 70 pounds. Yeah.
Yeah, he works out like a madman. So
and that, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll continue. Here we go.
Things that have high nutrients but low calories, right?
Correct. I mean, you're getting a lot of bad information that's killing people, and those people should be put in jail that you're having on your show.
Uh-oh. Okay. Sean Baker, you need to be put in jail.
That's right. They should be stopped. We should silence them. All right. Let me just answer that. Okay. Two things. One, the most proven methodology to slow aging. I should say the only proven methodology to slow aging and live longer is moderate caloric restriction in an environment of micronutrient excellence. And let me say that one more time because people should write this down. Moderate caloric restriction in an environment or context of micronutrient excellence.
So what do you think about that, Bart?
He's completely off the planet. He's completely wrong about everything he has to say on every topic. There is not a single thing to recommend Joel Fuhrman as even being in position of an understanding of first principles of science, physics, nutrition, or anything else, let alone competent to comment upon it publicly. His ridiculous assertion that the carnivore diet promoting people are promulgating misinformation is false, completely false. It is Joel Fuhrman that is promulgating the misinformation without any question whatsoever. For a start, he's talking about calories, which are a construct. They are an idea. They are not a measurement even of the actual effective so-called energy contained within food substances, let alone valid in any way, shape, or form. And he's talking about there being evidence around longevity It does not exist. There are no studies that inform us on longevity as that relates cause and effect to any aspect of nutrition in human beings whatsoever. None. Everything he's just said is demonstrably, absolutely scientifically false.
I saw his interview, or not his interview, but his debate with Paul Saladino back when Paul Saladino actually was carnivore.
Mhm.
And he just kept providing this sort of hierarchy of evidence with
Yep.
showing that vegan diets are better and blah, blah, blah. But I mean, all he really had to produce was epidemiology, right?
That's right.
Have you seen that? Did you see that debate with him?
I did see it, and I thought Paul was far too accommodating, did not hold Furman to account on his fallacies, falsehoods, and anti-scientific claptrap. And that's probably because actually Saladino is no more competent than Furman actually scientifically. Both of these individuals are absolutely destitute of an understanding of the scientific discipline, scientific process, empirical evidence, statistical inference, or anything related to it. They are both ideologues. They have different ideas about things, but nonetheless, they are both ideologues and not scientists. If nothing else, you'd take one look at this Furman and you'd go, well, is this someone I want to take health advice from?
It's funny that he's pointing out Sean Baker, a guy who's, very muscular, looks very healthy, a lot younger, looks a lot younger than his age. And then you put him beside Joel Furman, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of a joke.
As is
Yeah.
Joel Furman.
Yeah. All right. So I think we could move on from him and go on to the next one, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of a joke.
Mm.
All right. So next up on the list, we have Dr. Garth Davis.
Goatee Garth. Goat lover Garth.
And he's going to tell us the mechanism as to why meat is bad for us.
Good. Let's hear it.
Okay, so let's talk about what is actually bad in meat. I mean, what is the harmful effect of meat? I see these guys online. They say that a meat diet is perfect. It gives you all the vitamins. And obviously, that's not true. I mean, you can't.
Yes, it is true.
Sorry, Bart, you want to chime in there?
Yeah, that statement is absolutely false. He said it's not true that you get everything you need from meat. It absolutely is true. You do get absolutely everything you need from meat in an amount which is absolutely appropriate for a human being. We've been eating meat and nothing else to speak of for 350,000 years. We get everything we need from it. Obviously, that is our absolutely evolved niche for nutrition. So false, goatee boy.
Yeah. I mean, I wonder what all these northern populations are doing, right, for months at a time where they really have no other sources of food. And then anecdotally, I mean, we have people like 40-year carnivore, our good old friend Rick Rodriguez, who's pretty much been on meat-only diet for 40 years. And there's plenty of people in this space, decades long, right, on a carnivore diet with no nutritional deficiencies.
Anthony Chaffee interviewed a woman this week on his channel who is a rancher and works a full day as a rancher still, doing physical rancher worker job. This is a woman of 82 years of age.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
Who has
Incredible.
been carnivore for 67 years.
Yeah. Amazing. Yeah.
Okay, so that's the end of that argument. We're done. What's next?
Yeah. All right.
Go on, goatee.
Scurvy came from when people were eating nothing but meat. You can't get
scurvy. He must be taking his pointers from
Garth
Joey.
Garth just said scurvy comes from people who only eat meat. Actually, goatee boy Garth Davis, people who get scurvy are not people who eat only meat, because meat contains vitamin C. What you'll find is that scurvy generally was found in sailors in antiquity, not the officers who are eating dried meat, which contained vitamin C. It was the sailors who were eating ship's biscuits. They were the ones getting scurvy. Okay, so he hasn't even got his facts straight, even the most basic facts.
And what about the whole debate about, cooking meat, destroying the vitamin C?
Well, I've eaten nothing but cooked meat, pretty well done meat, actually, for now about 8.5 years, pretty much. Still waiting for scurvy.
You ever try raw?
I have tried it. I don't like it.
No.
I've tried closer to raw than I generally would. I don't mind that so much, but I still tend to default to fairly well done meat. No scurvy.
Yeah, I didn't mind it. I kind of liked it, but people kind of don't believe this, but I got food poisoning pretty much right away from eating some raw meat.
Right.
So,
Okay.
so I don't know if I'll be doing that again. I have
I
nothing
wouldn't.
against it.
Yeah. No, in your situation, Scotty, I wouldn't be going there.
Yeah, I can't afford to lose any more weight. Let's see if this guy has anything else to say that's worthwhile.
A lot of the fiber that you need, you don't get phytonutrients.
You don't need any fiber, none
In
at
fact,
all.
without that fiber, you don't get the prebiotics, so you do change your bowel bacteria. And there's been studies about this, that you change your bowel bacteria and you actually get a bowel bacteria that's more prone to producing TMAO from carnitine. TMAO is a substance that's very bad for the heart and has been associated with congestive heart failure and heart disease. And you also get a micro.
Right. Number one, if you take someone who has been eating a standard or a mixed diet and is not adapted to meat, and you suddenly change that person's diet to meat overnight for the purposes of, say, the research projects that Goatee Boy here is talking about, then yes, those people do have a buildup of TMAO in their bloodstreams, precisely because they don't have the microbiome developed yet, which allows them to consume a diet consisting entirely of meat. It takes time to develop that. What you'll find in a person who's been eating pretty much nothing but meat for a significant period of months is that their microbiome adjusts to that, and they develop a species of bacteria that breaks down TMAO to harmless byproducts. And as such, the TMAO problematic thing from eating meat is a complete fallacy. It's a nonsense. It's ideology. It's claptrap. It's not science. And these are the ramblings, the rantings of an incompetent buffoon who is driven by nothing whatsoever but ideology. Apparently, he also likes to fuck goats. Allegedly.
What?
Yes, there was a statement made by him a couple of years ago that Sean Baker was definitely on steroids, which we all know Sean Baker is not, in fact. In fact, Sean Baker has been not only a campaigner against steroids for his entire professional career, but also he was involved in testing of athletes. He also holds 2 world records for physically demanding tasks, which require him to be tested for steroids quite regularly to make sure that he's clean. He absolutely is. And frankly, this completely baseless claim based on absolutely no evidence of any kind made by Garth Davis was nothing more than a disgraceful slur from a desperate charlatan. And so what Sean Baker said was, well, while we're throwing out baseless accusations, I heard you like to fuck goats, Garth.
Yeah.
And ever since he's been known as Goatee Boy Garth Davis, because apparently evidence is not required, or you could just throw baseless accusations around with impunity. So we'll do it too. Fine. Garth Davis apparently likes to fuck goats. Good.
Yeah, well, that would have been grounds for a lawsuit. I'm sure he has lots of vegan funding money and all that stuff. So
perhaps,
I
yeah.
probably just would have sued his ass.
He does look like the sort, though, doesn't he?
Yeah,
Grab a goat roughly.
Yeah, I'm not so sure if that's so baseless.
I wonder if
seems
he's got a pair of Velcro gloves or something.
Maybe he seems to be on a roll here. Let's give him a few more seconds.
All right, good.
Biome that doesn't produce butyrate, which is protective to the colon and anti-inflammatory.
Okay, pause again. Now he's saying without fiber in your gut, you can't produce butyrate, a fuel source that is required by the enteric cells in the colon to do well and be healthy.
What about butter?
Well, that's it. Butter contains butyrate. And also, the first step in metabolizing butyrate for energy is that it goes through a chemical pathway that leads to the production within the cell from that butyric acid or butyrate, and what is formed out of that is another substance called beta hydroxybutyrate. Heard of that one, Scott?
I have.
It's a fucking ketone body.
Mm-hmm.
So when you break down fats and produce ketone bodies, that produces that beta hydroxybutyrate directly, and the enteric cells of your colon are perfectly able to absorb that beta hydroxybutyrate from the blood side. Ergo, that is not a problem either. And Garth Davis is a fucking idiot, a complete cockspat, a complete waste of absolute nonsense.
We haven't even made it a minute in this video, and it's taking up way too much time here. I think we should move on to the next guy.
Oh, yeah. Good. There you go, boy. You really are a fucking waste of skin. And not to mention a coward, because he was going to come and debate me in a series of debates and teach me a lesson about science. So he was. We had a half-hour discussion where I already corrected him on both of those two claims he's already made here to his face. He had no answer for either of those corrections. And then he ran away with shit in his pants like the coward he is.
I saw that. Yeah, he said he wanted to do a series of videos, and then he just sort of ghosted you after that.
Pussy.
Yeah.
You're a pussy, Garth. What's next?
Yeah, as they all are. Okay, who's on the next?
Who's next? Who's next? Who's next?
All right. So up next we have Dr. Michael Gregor, or not Dr. Michael Gregor.
Dr. Michael
Yeah,
Gregor.
sorry. Yeah. I had to correct myself there. Can you tell us why he's not a doctor, Bart?
Well, he's entitled to the professional honorific of doctor. There's no question of that. He is entitled to use it. I'm not saying otherwise. But what I'm saying is that by using the title Dr. Gregor, MD, he is suggesting, by way of failure of a clear statement to the contrary, that he is in fact a practicing physician. The man has never practiced medicine, not a single day in his life, ever. He is not a doctor. So not Dr. Gregor is a more appropriate title.
Yeah, he's never practiced.
Never, ever. Not one day in his life. He's never seen a patient. Not one.
Wow. Okay, so he's just a YouTube influencer doctor kind of thing. Okay. All right, let's play him and hear what he has to say.
Fad diets going on right now. I know you didn't want
fad diets. Don't you just love it when they call it a fad diet? Does that bother you?
Yeah. Well, it doesn't bother me per se. It's just wrong and ignorant, because the carnivore diet, human beings have been doing that for 4.5 million years.
What about vegan diet?
That's a fad. Comparatively, absolutely.
I want to try to whack them all in each one of the diets. Just wanted to ask you just if you thought about approaching a few of the diets. One, which I know you've been asked about before, but I have to ask you, is the carnivore diet. You know, Dr. Jordan Peterson's on it, and I know him and his daughter feel a lot better. I think there's reasons for that. And some people swear by it. What do you think of what's happening there with the carnivore diet?
So I just swear at it. That's my.
But why are they seeing results?
I mean, it's so. So if you have, so it's like people who go gluten free feel better. So if you had a wheat out.
What's that? Yeah,
if you don't eat your fruits and vegetables, you might die.
He's clearly deteriorating. Like he's
absolutely deranged.
He's younger than you, isn't he?
Yes, he is. Yeah.
He's younger than you. I thought he was like 68 years old or something.
No, he's not. He's younger than I am.
Wow.
Again, you'd take one look at this character, and would you take health advice from this man?
Yeah.
No, you wouldn't. But do tell us all about how. Please.
This is the only reason why I chose to cover Dr. Gregor, is because of your impersonation of him. I love it.
You're welcome.
I love it.
Allergy, and all of a sudden you go gluten free and you feel better. It wasn't the gluten; it was because you had a wheat allergy. Or one of the reasons people feel bad about 1-200 people who stop eating meat have these negative consequences. They have a soy allergy. They never knew that. It's about 250 people have a soybean allergy. You don't even know it, because who eats a soybean unless all of a sudden you start eating a veggie burger or something, but all of a sudden they stop eating meat and they feel terrible.
oh, you had an undiagnosed soy allergy. Get rid of the soybeans. All of a sudden, then you can, get the full benefits of.
Does anyone ever have a meat allergy aside from maybe
Yeah.
eggs, like beef?
Yeah.
Is beef allergy? Is that such a thing?
It is possible to have a red meat allergy. Normally, it's precipitated by a bite from the Lone Star tick.
Ah, okay. I've heard of this. Yeah.
It can happen.
It's pretty rare though.
Well, you'd have to be bitten by the tick and you'd have to react in the way that causes that allergy. Terrible luck if that happens to you. It can really mess your life up.
Of not eating meat, but it wasn't the lack of meat that did it. And so if you have a variety of food intolerances, so you cut down. So if instead of a carnivore diet, you had a sweet potato diet, where all you did was eat sweet potatoes, presumably you'd feel just as good because you're cutting out whatever bad thing that was undercutting your health before. It's basically three things that no one's allergic to: sweet potatoes, tapioca, and water.
There we go. Sweet potato diet. Didn't Vegan Bazooka challenge you on something about that? He's going to go on an all sweet potato diet or something like that.
To get enough of all of the amino acids that you must get from your diet because you can't make them yourself, you would have to consume. He was saying you can live quite well on nothing but sweet potatoes. And I'm like, well, let's have a look at the essential amino acids that you need to get from your diet. And on that basis, on the amount of the lowest one of those that you find in sweet potatoes, how much sweet potato would you have to eat to make sure you have enough of all of the amino acids that you need to get from your diet? The answer was something like 6.5 or 7 kilograms per day. Good fucking luck.
Yeah. Not to mention your kidneys would blow up from all the oxalates pretty much.
Well, yeah.
So,
wow. Yep. So, sweet potatoes and tapioca, eat your fruits and vegetables. That's all this boy's got.
let's give him a few more seconds.
Yeah.
And so when you do these elimination diets, this to look at to find these people with irritable bowel syndrome, trying to find out what exactly is doing it. Put people on water, tapioca, and sweet potatoes, and then slowly add back fruit, add back nuts, add back, grains, and then you find out what all of a sudden does it. So, so presumably, by eating meat, you're cutting out swaths of potential allergens, and things that people.
And that's why they feel better, but in your mind, that's not sustainable in the long run.
Oh my God, you could get, it's a diet you could get scurvy off of. Now that's,
Okay, so you put a little lime juice in there, and you can still keep rocking.
A zero fiber diet. Yeah, no. Look, it's the antithesis of what one would.
This is what they always go to, right? Scurvy and
vitamin
fiber.
C and fiber. And when that doesn't work, because neither of those are correct, they then say TMAO. No, I've dealt with that one in this video already. They'll go NEU5GC though. Also no. They'll say, but cancer though, because red meat and cancer though, no. None of this works. None of their ideological claptrap is based in science. The absolutely appropriate species-specific diet for a human being is meat and animal fat. And when I say meat, I mean muscle meat.
Why not organs? Why not organs?
Because most organs are fine, to be fair. They're not required, they're not necessary, but most organs are fine. The one that's problematic is liver. Too much liver is very, very seriously problematic for a lot of people. And a lot of people say, is it the vitamin A thing? No, it's not. It's the copper thing. It's the electrolyte thing that's the problem. So liver is not only not required, but for many people, it's contraindicated above a certain level and should not be consumed.
So don't get your organ supplements from the Liver King.
Absolutely don't get organ supplements from anybody. You don't need those at all. There are no deficiencies that you can expect to experience on a diet consisting solely of the muscle meat and associated fat of large ruminant animals, plus some butter, salt to taste, and water for your beverage. Rinse and repeat. Easy.
All right. So I'll leave out my Heart and Soil supplement link out of this video then today.
Unless you're getting paid for it, in which case fill your boots, but they're not necessary.
All right. I think we've had enough of Dr. Gregor. Let's move on to the next one.
And then some.
All right. So next up, we have somebody that we've both kind of covered before. His name is Dr. Matthew Nagra. He's actually a naturopath in Vancouver, in hippie Veganville. I love Vancouver. I've spent a lot of time there, but they're very much vegan oriented there. I know he has, you did a video on him about eggs once. He did some kind of egg video. And I think didn't he complain to YouTube about you or something? Wasn't he the guy?
Whether it was him or one of his supporters, whatever.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's hear what he has to say. Here he's debunking Paul Saladino, which shouldn't be too hard to do in his defense. But here we go.
This is why you should eat meat. If you're eating meat, this is why you should eat more meat. Animal meat and organs contain many essential nutrients that are critical for optimal health that are simply not found in significant quantities in plant foods. Nutrients like creatine, carnitine, anserine, taurine, riboflavin, biotin, vitamin B12, vitamin K2. The list is long.
So Paul claimed that all these nutrients were essential, but that's not true. Only 3 of them are actually essential: vitamin B12, riboflavin, and biotin. The other nutrients are non-essential, meaning we don't need to consume them in our diet to survive because our bodies produce them. Now that doesn't mean they can't provide any benefit, but it also doesn't mean that meat is the ideal source. But more on that later. You'll also notice he didn't cite any references, so I'll go ahead and show you the science myself.
He's going to show us the science.
Show us the science.
With his studies and the hierarchy of evidence. This guy, I would say, the thing that bothers me the most about him is that he's not a scientist. He's a naturopath.
Correct.
And he really bastardizes the science at every single turn.
He's always bit him on the ass.
Oh, he cites epidemiology as causal evidence. He's always citing that European Atherosclerosis Society is a causal, as if that's some kind of causal evidence that.
Which it is not. Yep.
Yeah. Anyway, let's listen to what his science has to say here. Vitamin B12.
Starting with the 3 essential nutrients, vitamin B12 is very important. Deficiency can be serious, resulting in anemia, neurological issues, and more, but that risk can easily be overcome by taking a supplement, which is critical for those who are eating a strictly or almost strictly plant-based diet.
Why should you have to, though?
Any diet that requires you to supplement with something artificially produced in order for you to maintain health is not an appropriate diet for a human being. Supplementation should be an optional thing that people can take on board should they see fit for purposes, whatever they may be in their life, where they might need additional support in a certain area. But what Matthew Nagra is admitting there clearly is, on a vegan diet, if you do not supplement vitamin B12, you will have a catastrophic health failure in short order. Ergo, the diet is wrong.
I'm curious as to how they would do this with children to make sure they're following this adequately. But also, is the vitamin B12 in a supplement as adequate as it would be from a food source? Is it as bioavailable?
It depends on the form. Vitamin B12 is usually produced in mostly one of 2 forms, one of which is fairly good, fairly absorbable, does the trick, and does not produce toxicity issues. And that's the form that's the most expensive, the one that people shy away from because of the cost of the thing.
What form is that?
Well, there's a cyano cobalamin and there's a methyl cobalamin. The one that you want is methyl, the one you don't want is cyano. And the cyano one is as cheap as chips. You can buy it for several dollars a bottle and gob those as much as you like. Number 1, it won't work very well. And number 2, well, the clue is in the cyano.
Cyano as in cyanide?
As in, yeah. As in that well, cyano refers to a bluish tinge, like as in cyan, but as to where that comes from, well, you'll need to trace that yourselves and find out how they make vitamin B12 in the cyano form.
It doesn't actually contain any cyanide, though, I'm assuming.
Not in an amount that you would suspect would be immediately problematic. However, how much cyanide do you want to take, Scott?
Yeah. Good point. Well, let's hear where he's going with this.
Yeah, okay.
Now, for those of you who think that the simple need for a supplement makes a dietary pattern inferior, let's conduct a thought experiment. Let's say there are two diets, Diet A and Diet B. Now, Diet A provides all of the nutrition you need, but also tends to result in a shorter life and a lower quality of life. Diet B, on the other hand, provides most of what you need, but you do need to supplement 1 or 2 additional nutrients, but you also tend to live a healthier and longer life. Which one do you choose? My guess is that most of you would have chosen Diet B, meaning that the need for a supplement doesn't make or break whether a diet is healthy, and a diet that includes supplements can be healthier than one that doesn't. With that, I think we can move on.
Okay. Can we move on from that, Bart? What do you think?
Well, no, we can't. Because what he's just said there is completely, absolutely false from the ground up, because he is
basing on the hierarchy of evidence.
He's inferring that a carnivore diet will somehow reduce your quality or quantity of life, neither of which is correct. He is also asserting that the inverse is true for a vegan diet, that it will increase either your quality or quantity of life, which is also false. So his entire argument there from the ground up does not hold water. Both parts of that assertion, which he's inferred there, are false, demonstrably false.
And he talks about how Paul Saladino didn't reference any studies, nor does he.
Neither does he. Because there are no studies that can inform on longevity or quality of life.
Now,
outcomes.
Later in this video, he actually references one study about how plant-based eaters actually had some kind of marker for athleticism, I guess. I believe in terms of having better outcomes with plant-based protein than meat-based protein. But it was plant-based versus meat eaters, right? So he's talking about carnivores here. Meat eaters and carnivores are a very different thing.
Yes.
So we don't have any studies on strict carnivores, really. We had that one Harvard study, I guess.
Yeah.
But are there any other studies on strict carnivores?
Nope.
So then how could his evidence be causal? You know, how could he prove that?
It's not evidence, let alone causal. It's his ideology. It's his desperate, vacuous desire for something to be true that cannot be shown to be true. It's him confidently espousing a fallacy to people who already want to hear and accept what he's saying is true ideologically. The facts don't matter here, Scott. They're not interested in the facts. They are interested in espousing an ideology and indoctrinating the masses still further. There is no evidence to support a vegan diet in any way extant anywhere in the literature whatsoever. None.
And I will add, didn't you invite him for a debate on your channel and he declined? Because he only wanted 3 studies?
There is one of many who has refused to come and bring 3 studies to me so that we can actually fully, properly analyze 3 studies. All of these vegan ideologues think that the way to win a debate is to cite more pieces of peer-reviewed evidence than the next person without remotely analyzing those papers or what it is they did or what they say. They just want to spout peer-reviewed reference at somebody, and that's how they win the argument, apparently. Well, no, because if you're going to say this paper suggests such and such, then you need to be prepared to stop, read the paper together, analyze it carefully, spend half an hour on the thing to show how it is so absolutely false and unsupportable, the claim that this particular paper proves, well, anything, actually, one way or the other. nobody is prepared to sit down with me, it seems, and actually go through these papers that they claim to be evidence of things. All they want to do is have an unlimited number of citations that they can make to papers without analyzing them at all. Well, that's not going to do it. And of course, as soon as I say, no, that's not going to happen, you bring me, if you want to say such and such is true, you want to make a positive claim, this is, how it is, then actually 3 sources of evidence for your claim is actually quite generous, because if it were so, and there were any one piece of evidence that does prove your point, then 1 is all you need. You don't need 3, you only need 1. So bring me that piece of paper that proves your point. And let's have a look at it, see if it really does.
No.
No.
Hierarchy of evidence.
Yeah, which debunks itself. That thing is not even internally consistent with itself. It says that somebody's opinion, somebody's educated opinion, is right down the bottom of the hierarchy in terms of evidence of anything. To which my response is fantastic. This hierarchy of evidence here, this is better than that, better than that, better than that, better than that. By how much? And what piece of kit did you use to measure the goodness of that? Where does that come from? Oh, well, this is just educated opinion on what's best. Oh, okay. So the hierarchy that says educated opinion is right down the bottom is itself an educated opinion. Good. I think I'm done with it. What's next?
That's a great point. All right. On to the next one. So here, guys, we have Neal Barnard, everybody's favorite doctor. Of course, Bart's covered this guy a few times, but this guy has to be one of the biggest dinks on YouTube. I can't stand this guy. He just drives me absolutely nuts. What do you think about this guy, Bart?
Yeah, and I agree with that, absolutely. And also, once again, take a look. Would you take health advice from somebody who presents as having less muscularity than your average 6-year-old girl, whose jawline looks wider than his shoulder blades just about? Who, how does he even hold his head up? I don't know. Anyway.
Sorry, my bad.
All right, we're going to get back to industry influence in just a little bit, but I want to circle back to a couple of other things first. We've also talked in the past here on the show about the inordinate amount of cholesterol that's found in other animal products. Meat is one of them. How does the cholesterol in an egg compare to, say, a slab of steak or a Big Mac that you might get from McDonald's?
Well, the cholesterol itself is the same molecule. What's different about an egg is there is so much more of it. You'd have to eat a heck of a lot of meat to get the amount of cholesterol that you get from an egg. But that doesn't mean that meat is healthier, because what's even worse than the cholesterol is the saturated fat, the bad fat, which is in eggs, but even more so in meat, and even more so in whole milk and milk products like cheese.
All right.
Absolute rubbish, nonsense. Saturated fat is not even associated with deleterious health outcomes, let alone the cause of them. Nothing but ideology. Rancid, pustulous, stinking ideology. No facts of any kind. None.
I think that has been thoroughly debunked.
Yeah.
Especially recently, and a lot of scientists have come in defense of saturated fat. I mean, it's totally just industry funded, like you say, claptrap nonsense.
Yeah.
Yeah. So okay, well, we'll close it off with our favorite here, Neal Barnard. But Bart, just want to thank you so much for coming on again today, and hopefully, maybe we'll do a part 3 at some point.
Oh, it's been my pleasure. It's been fun as usual. You know what to do. Sub in all the right places, unsub in all the wrong places.
Yeah, everybody go to Bart's channel, Bart K, Professor Bart K, and sub his channel. Thanks so much, Bart.
Pleasure.